Alright, so MrBeast just had more allegations come out against him. It seems like every 2 days now there's some new information that just makes this entire situation so much worse for Jimmy. And the funniest part is, there's still so much more to come out, and Jimmy hasn't responded to any of this as of yet. A YouTuber by the name of Ty Orr made a video called "I also work for MrBeast, he's a thief," referencing Dogpack404, who's already made 2 huge videos about MrBeast, which goes over some serious accusations accusing him of stealing this random guy's work. Apparently he flew out to work for MrBeast, got there and did some work and never got paid for it. Then Jimmy stole this guy's work and used it for some of his videos. These, I just want to say right now, are all allegations, by the way. Like I've said for every one of these MrBeast videos that I've made so far, nothing is proven 100%, and obviously Jimmy hasn't responded, so it's best we wait for him to respond. But yeah, let's start by watching this Ty Orr video, because I found it quite bad for Jimmy, to be honest with you.
February 2nd, 2024, I went snowboarding like I normally do, and I got an email in which I thought was a scam. I mean, for real, look at this. Even you would think the same thing if you got a random email saying MrBeast follow-up when you didn't even remember reaching out in the first place.
Okay, so here Ty's pretty much saying that he got some random email from MrBeast on February 2nd this year, 2024, saying that they reviewed his application and that they like to chat for him about, you know, potentially doing some full-time or contract work. Now, this guy Ty apparently already works and has worked for a bunch of other huge YouTubers like Jessa, and currently works for MMG as an ideation and video editor guy, which, you know, is pretty standard in the YouTube business. You need people to be editing your videos and giving you video ideas. Pretty much then, for the next couple of minutes, he goes on to show a bunch of proof with his actual Facebook account that he has real followers, and, you know, people have commented on his stuff, just proving that he does actually work at MrBeast. Me personally, I think this is legit. However, obviously I'm not gonna say it's 100% because MrBeast hasn't responded yet.
So in a nutshell, before we get into all the details, MrBeast gave me a fake job, flew me out there to work, I worked my butt off, took all my ideas, sent me home and told me there wasn't a job available, and then proceeded to not only do that, but then to take my ideas still and then make a video. So that's what we're going to be covering here. I mean, we're talking about a billionaire here. If you know who MrBeast is, you know exactly what we're talking about. And I can hang up my editing tool set, whatever you want to call it, dude. All that stuff, I'm not even going to be editing for the guy. I'm going to be using my mata. I'm going to be making ideas for him to make videos. I swear to God, that's what my job is. It's not editing.
So I mean, these are some pretty serious allegations right off the rip, saying that MrBeast gave him a fake job, stole a bunch of his ideas, and flew him back home without paying him. And obviously the second part of the clip explains that, you know, Ty was hired as an ideas guy, pretty much meaning that his job was to give MrBeast video ideas, whether that be, you know, obviously video ideas for concepts in the videos. So for today's example, we're going to be using the one that he was allegedly scammed out of. In MrBeast's obstacle course video, which he uploaded in June, it was Ty's job to give ideas as what the sets should be and what obstacle courses should look like in the video.
For another email also on February 7th, 2024, this was directly right after the call I had with Hoodie, Dylan, and Kara, and within that conversation they basically told me that I needed to make a prompt. And when I say prompt, let me just read the email. "Hello Ty, we would like for you to come in for a vibe check." Vibe check means you come in for a few days to see if you're good, see if you're a good worker, see, you know, people are not going to be annoyed by you, and see if they can move further on with the hiring process. If possible, we'd like for you to come in for 3 days at some point next week. I've got a recruiting coordinator, Leslie, CC'd on this email. She will help you figure out the days which you can make it and handle your travel arrangements. Now, this is the most important email of all. What they want me to do is to do 2 video prompts. Attached, you will find 2 video prompts. Pick one that inspires you the most and document and write out how you envision it. Really let your creativity flow and assume everything is possible. So in each of these prompts, one of them is the world's most dangerous trap room and the other is 24 hours to spend $1 billion. I went with the world's most dangerous trap room, and then like we mentioned before, this is Leslie sending me an email. "Thanks Ty, are you able to fly in on Tuesday, be on office Wednesday through Friday, and fly back out on Saturday morning?" Of course I said yes, and she gave me all my travel info.
Okay, so pretty much if you're following along so far, he's been given a quote vibe check, whatever the hell that means. A bit of a weird name to be given, but I guess it's a YouTube channel, so I mean, I guess it's a bit hip with the kids, if you could say that. So pretty much he's got to go into MrBeast's headquarters, fly all the way across the country over to North Carolina, and do a bit of work. As well as that, he's got to choose between 2 concept prompts and make a video idea out of it. Now, he managed to do this this task, obviously, that he was supposed to do, and the people essentially interviewing Ty liked what he was doing, so they then flew him out to North Carolina for their vibe check. Now, once he got to MrBeast's headquarters, that's when this story takes a pretty sour turn. But before that, there's some more explanation that this guy does about how MrBeast's headquarters actually work, and this is really important for later.
So let's break down the positions in the MrBeast company. You have C1. C1 is the head person of that department. So if you're in creative, you're C1. So creative, studio 1, C1. So there's creative studio 2, there's a C1 for that. Creative studio 3, there's a C1 for that. Then ideation, Studio 1, C1. Ideation, Studio 2, same thing. They're just levels. They're just like the head honcho of that department. And then within that, you also have a C2 and a C3. I assume C2 is like the person who are in between. And I know C3 is like the bitch of the company. They just write notes. They don't do anything. They just write notes. Whatever is said, they take notes. They take minutes and they write everything. They're like the grunts of that department. I went to this new room that Hoodie told me to go to, and there was 3 positions. Well, there was 2 positions at the time. I don't know where the third one's at. There was only a C3 and then a C2. I mean, a C1. The C1's name was C. The C3, I mean, I talked to him for like 30 seconds. I don't know what his name was.
Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. This is pretty much saying that for each field in MrBeast's company, like thumbnails, ideation, video editing, whatever it is, there's different studios that are labeled, and there's a 1, 2, and 3 for each. The 1 is supposed to be the highest priority, and the 3 is the lowest. Now here's where things get really bad. So Ty was in the ideation field and was working on a video, and it was MrBeast's most dangerous obstacle course video, like I keep saying. In MrBeast's warehouse, there's these walls that you can draw on apparently, and this is actually true because I watched a Mr. Who's the Boss, MrBeast tour. Pretty much he toured MrBeast's whole entire studio, and it is actually true. They do have walls you can literally just draw on, and then you can erase them whenever you want, and that's going to be pretty important for this next bit. But now Ty goes on to explain what he actually did during these 3 days being at MrBeast's warehouse for this vibe check.
I got absolutely scammed by the biggest YouTuber in the entire world. This is where you're gonna find out why I was upset. Now it's gonna come full circle. I'm gonna have to tell you everything. We're working on the video, World's Most Dangerous Obstacle Course, and I want to show some videos and proof of what I did. From here on out, I'm gonna start speaking more theoretically so I don't get sued. So there may or may not have walls in this MrBeast studio where they're all dry erase marker, where you can just write anything. So if you have an idea, you're like, oh crap, I don't want to forget it, right on the wall. This is a picture of my pitch that I wrote. So you see right here, you get really close. Bloodthirst, let's see, Elevator, let's even get close. Glass challenge right here. PT hallway, sound familiar? It's my prompt. So this is what I pitched to Hoodie. This is what I pitched to Hoodie. And I didn't put my variations in there. I just put the ones that I wanted, and I verbally said my variations just in case they didn't like my original ones. Taking a look at this picture right here. So this was my idea here. I wanted to make an obstacle course in the air, but like somehow incorporate it with the Mario idea. Somehow just, I don't know, somehow do that. This is a picture that I drew for this pitch for this idea. And I realized that, you know what? I couldn't do the floating block, so I wanted to make sure I can do it another way. So I had an idea of a truss with 4 cranes holding it up, and I wanted to be able to go across it. That was just the first section of it. Because if you look a little bit more to the right of this picture, there's like a helicopter and a guy hanging from a ladder, and there's platforms down here, 1, 2, and 3. There's platforms right there. So I pitched this idea, and they absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. The only person who didn't like it was C1 because it wasn't her idea. So when it came down to our meeting later that day, so we were there for hours and hours and hours, and like I said, there's a hierarchy. There's MrBeast, Tyler, Jackson, the head writer, and Hoodie. Well, Jackson comes down there and we're having a meeting at 9 o'clock at night. The meeting goes all the way to midnight, and then they say at the very end, we're gonna need all hands on deck on this. We're gonna need the help. We're gonna need the creativity. We need everyone to pull their weight. Does anyone have anything that's gonna help us, with this? And I told him my idea. I brought up every single thing, not only just this idea, but the rest of the video. They loved it.
So yeah, pretty much Ty came up with all these ideas, and it seemed like the response he got from the head writers and, everyone testing him to see if he was good enough was a good response. It pretty much just seemed like this guy was a perfect fit from everything that's going on. And now you might be thinking, right, all those ideas that Ty brought up are pretty good and also pretty familiar. It almost seems like that they've already been used by MrBeast at some point. Maybe like, I don't know, a month or 2 ago.
All right, so at this point, I've pitched my idea. They love it. They've set a date, they set a location, and now they have a renewed budget for this video, and everything's great. I'm so happy. I text all my friends, I call everyone. I'm like, yeah, dude, you know, and also, so after all that, I'm feeling great. I got a verbal confirmation that I was good to go. Everything was perfect. I know about everything was literally perfect until I got home. And that's when everything started to happen. Unfortunately, we have decided not to move forward with your candidacy at this time. We really appreciate you coming out and vibing with us. We would consider you for a role like this in the future, but timing isn't quite right. And the rest are about receipts. So at first I was like, you know what? Maybe that's true. But then I started to think about it a little bit more. And I didn't want to let it bother me. So I said, hey, Dylan, that's a bummer to hear, but I appreciate the opportunity. Maybe another time, like you said. Candidly, may I ask if I presented myself poorly or rubbed the crew wrongly in any way? Talking about here because I know I did. Also, I sent my receipts, and this was talking about my dog because I had spent like $400 for my dog to be boarded. Sent all that information. He said, hello, Ty. You did not rub anyone the wrong way or present yourself poorly. We're going through some reorganization with the team and are limited on roles we have open for teams. I appreciate you sending a receipt, blah, 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 whatever. This is where I started to like say, but I didn't say anything.
Okay, so I mean, that just kind of seems like a cover-up in my opinion. I don't really see a world where you bring this guy out, fly him all the way across the country. You've seen him do some great work and, you know, give him some great ideas. You fly him home and then say, oh yeah, no, we've got no spots available for you. Sorry, bro. Like, surely if this guy was good enough at what he was doing, then you just hire him straight up. Seems very suspicious in my opinion. But now we move on, right? Because after this, Ty didn't respond to anything. Obviously, this all happened from, you know, the start of February to the end of February. But now we move on a few months to June, where this video was posted by MrBeast. Apparently, these guys just completely ripped this guy's work off of him and didn't pay him for any of it.
I didn't say anything at all. Not a single word until I saw this on Twitter. Just uploaded the most insane video we've ever done. Go watch. Take a look at this picture. Take a good hard look at this picture. Does that remind you of anything you've seen so far? Does it remind you of anything you've seen remotely close to it? Or does it look like the exact same thing that I drew? The exact same thing that I pitched? Everything. Do you want to know how much I got paid for that? Zero. I didn't get paid a single dime. This man, this company, his employees not only took the time to exploit me, to have me work for them under the false pretenses of a job that wasn't, you know, that they weren't available or able to give at the time, yet they had many people go in and out. On my second day, there was like a different group that I saw the day before, and then they were on their last day, and then on my last day there was a group of people that was their first day. You're trying to tell me you didn't have any positions at all, yet you had all those people, and not only did you do that, you used my idea. A lot of people would say, you know what, legally he had the right to do that. I don't know in what legal standpoint he could. I could be wrong, but let's think about this though. We're talking about a billionaire. We're talking about the world's biggest YouTuber. How is that so hard to just compensate for someone for some work? How hard is it to compensate someone for their ideas that made you millions and made me zero?
Okay, so yeah, all really good points there. And I mean, if this is true right now, that is just so scummy. I mean, firstly, this guy just proves that there is no way that the work wasn't good enough to work for MrBeast. I mean, this guy just provided MrBeast with hundreds of millions of views on this video. And then there's also the part that there were so many people doing vibe checks with him that there's just no way there wasn't enough spots to fill. So look, I'm pretty inclined to believe what this guy's saying straight off the rip, but also there's a chance that this guy could be fabricating this whole thing as a way to get clout off this MrBeast drama. Now, I personally don't believe that, but that also could be a possibility. And look, we are also still waiting for MrBeast to respond to everything, so I think it's important to wait for him. Now, some comments and things that I've been seeing which I really just don't understand about this video is the whole thing of like, oh, well, this guy didn't actually do that much work. All he's doing is giving this guy video ideas. And look, I feel like these people are coming from a place of just ignorance and not really understanding how YouTube works. For those that don't know how YouTube works and aren't YouTubers, I can tell you right now, as a YouTuber myself, the video idea is probably the most important part of a YouTube video. Without a video idea, you don't have a video, and without people giving you great video ideas, your videos are gonna flop. Look, people talk about the title and thumbnail of the video being the most important part, the video editing being the most important part, but bro, the most important part of a YouTube video, which determines its success by like tenfold to everything else, is the video idea itself. It is the most important part. And when you've got people working on that video idea and, you know, giving you ideas and all this sort of stuff, that is work. That is generating you revenue. So for MrBeast to allegedly just not pay this guy for a video that got, you know, nearly 200 million views, that's pretty despicable, and I'm pretty sure that that's borderline illegal as well. Like, I'm pretty sure if you've flown this guy out to do some work from you, there's got to be some sort of agreement in there where you just have to pay him, and there's no way around it. But yeah, look, again, like I always say, once MrBeast replies to this whole thing, you know, you can guarantee I'll be the first one to cover it on this channel. So anyways, I'm done with this situation. Click the video on screen right now because YouTube thinks you'll enjoy it, and I'll see you all over there. Subscribe.